Hi there. I'm Mike Morse from the University of Florida. And I want to start with a quote from Holden Thorpe, who was the chancellor at UNC Chapel Hill and is now the provost at St. Louis University. He tells us that we believe this moment in history makes unlocking the innovative potential of our research universities a national imperative. And an entrepreneurial mindset is the key to achieving this objective. Today, entrepreneurship is resonating across our universities and colleges. That's not always been the case. I know, having done this over the last 30 years, that it was a mighty battle, and for a long time entrepreneurship was sort of either viewed as crass commercialism or the mechanics of running a small business. But I think universities are excited about it today. Some, I think, focused exclusively on commercializing university technologies, launching ventures and licensing based on technologies. For others, it's new revenue models as the business model of the university changes. But for others, it is much, much more than this. It's a mindset. It's about, at UF, 50,000 students as entrepreneurs. Every faculty member as an entrepreneur. Every staff member as an entrepreneur. It's entrepreneurship as empowerment and transformation. It's entrepreneurship as more than innovation or creativity. It's taking responsibility and doing what is necessary to actually implement change. We talk a lot about this mindset, but it's not especially well conceptualized. Well, what does that actually mean? So here's an attempt at its conceptualization. We talk about getting faculty, students, staff, administrators to think and act in entrepreneurial ways. That it is both attitudinal and behavioral. And I've broken out some of the key components of the attitude of entrepreneurship, to think in entrepreneurial ways, and some of the key elements of the behavioral part, to act, to do in entrepreneurial ways. But critically, we need to apply this entrepreneurial mindset across our careers, whether it's academic entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship, corporate entrepreneurship, or entrepreneurship in a profession, the idea of the entrepreneurial dancer or the entrepreneurial engineer. But to spread this mindset across our campuses, we really need to start talking in serious terms about the notion of an entrepreneurial ecosystem within the boundaries of the campus. The university entrepreneurial ecosystem. And what I tried to do here is identify examples of some of the key elements, whether it's entrepreneurship dormitories or fab labs, business model competitions, entrepreneurial study abroad experiences, research forums around entrepreneurship, idea jams across the campus. The possibilities are really quite exciting. As we talk about these ecosystems and how to build them, we need models. And what's emerged are two sort of dominant models. One is sort of a diffusion model that sort of is a highly decentralized. We've got a lot of activities and pockets of things happening across the campus independently and diffused. And the other is kind of a hub model, which is a much more centralized model. We have a vice provost of entrepreneurship or some centralized operation that sort of runs entrepreneurship across the campus. I really believe that we need to take the best of both of these and develop hybrid models with multiple hubs and an array of activity across the campus. But to make these ecosystems work and not just have silos or disparate people and units doing entrepreneurial things, it's about collaboration and partnerships, which is the theme of today's session. And as I think about collaboration and partnerships around entrepreneurial behavior on a campus, it seems to me there are two priorities, not one. One is, how do we help those within a given discipline do entrepreneurial things? Scholarship, teaching, service. The other is, how do we produce the interdisciplinary collaborations, the interdisciplinary outcomes in terms of collaborative teaching, research partnerships, technology commercialization teams, and interdisciplinary engagements in the community. And I think we so often focus on the latter that we don't do enough on the former. And my suggestion is we need both. We need to be doing more of both. But if we could do more of the former, it will facilitate much more of the latter. If we can help faculty and others within disciplines do entrepreneurial things. Why? Because this will start to produce something that we call academic entrepreneurs. And I think this is the most important concept of all. The question should be, when you or I look in the mirror in the morning, what do we see? Do we see a teacher, an educator, a scholar, a researcher, a coach, a mentor? Or do we see an academic entrepreneur? That's what I see when I look at myself, and that's what I hope you see when you look at yourself. Faculty who discover opportunity in the academic environment, who develop innovations to capitalize on that opportunity, developing a constant stream of innovation, taking calculated risks within the university environment, leveraging resources, acting in guerrilla ways. But even here, the notion of the academic entrepreneur is not well conceptualized. What do they actually do? Well, I've identified 10 things, minimally, that academic entrepreneurs are about. These are people who redefine the boundaries of a discipline, who introduce new schools of thought, who launch political and social movements, transform the way we teach a given subject, affect social change and social development in the community, change things like how resources are allocated in society, how species are saved, how environments are sustained, how quality of life is improved. They develop new business models for how universities and academic units can sustain themselves financially. They produce new forms of economic value in the marketplace. They do commercialize technologies. They create new for-profit and nonprofit ventures. The academic entrepreneur. So how do we support these folks? How do we bring this out in our faculty and our staff and others? Well, here are examples of some of the collaboration vehicles that we've put in place at the University of Florida to foster this mindset and to foster this ecosystem and to foster these academic entrepreneurs. From our Innovation Hub and our Innovation Academy to our new Infinity Hall and Entrepreneurship Dorm, our Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. But what I'd like to do is highlight one of these facilitating mechanisms that I hope you'll look at in terms of your own environments. Something we call our Entrepreneurship Faculty Fellows. And this is a cool program that's meant to develop academic entrepreneurs across our campus. Today we have 17 faculty fellows in disciplines across the University of Florida campus, everywhere from art to law to medicine and everything in between. Funded by a grant from the provost and a grant from the College of Business Dean's Office, We select faculty apply, we select faculty based on a proposal, and that proposal is to integrate entrepreneurship within their discipline. So it could be a course or modules within a course that they're developing. It could be a research initiative, scholarly research initiative. It could be a technology commercialization type of project, or it could be some form of service, community engagement kind of project. And the projects are extremely exciting. I'll share a few results in a moment. What we do, though, is once a fellow is selected, they're selected for up to 3 years term as the faculty fellows. We bring the faculty fellows together each month for a lunch. We move it around to all the different fellows' colleges. But we talk about entrepreneurial issues as they relate to disciplines across the campus. We feature some of the challenges and progress the different fellows are making. And it's a wonderful collision of perspectives and ideas. We have an annual forum on the campus to feature the work of the entrepreneurship faculty fellows. And we do unique things through the Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation to support our fellows, from advice to connection to expertise. Our Gator Nest program, where we actually have graduate students do consulting projects to help the fellows with what they're working on, funding, and other elements, all built around supporting these academic entrepreneurs. And in just under 2 years, the outcomes are already amazing and inspiring. We have new courses, not just courses entrepreneurship within a business school, but we have new courses in entrepreneurship within law, within engineering, within marine science, within journalism, within construction management, within pharmacy. That's exciting stuff. 2 community engagement projects, highly innovative in the public health arena. A new national initiative on the use of genetic information in pharmacy. 2 really cool technologies that are being commercialized. 2 interdisciplinary scholarly articles around entrepreneurial themes. And this is an interesting arena. You know, apart from all the technology that goes through the Intellectual Property Office, faculty have a lot of cool ideas that lend themselves to diffusion and in some cases to commercialization. And so we have a cool project involving in the music school, chant. A cool project in the College of Education that has to do with STEM learning online that are being commercialized or diffused. And a new business model to monetize a social initiative. Lessons learned thus far? Well, first and foremost, probably most importantly, academic entrepreneurs are everywhere on a campus. Our campuses are full of them. Maybe they don't know themselves as that, but they benefit from some of the tools and conceptualizations that are coming out of the field of entrepreneurship. And that's an important thing, but just as important is they each bring a unique disciplinary or professional lens to these tools and conceptualizations and take them in whole different directions with whole different interpretations. The key is to try to foster intellectual collisions. We've learned that collaboration is going to happen effectively if one's not trying to push an agenda, allowing things to emerge in different ways, things one didn't expect. And that faculty will take advantage of the support and the tools where there are no strings. There are challenges. We're trying to encourage entrepreneurial behavior, but reward systems vary and differ across the colleges and the incentives for engaging in this kind of activity. Funding has to be sustainable. That's always a challenge for a program like the Entrepreneurship Faculty Fellows. Deans will vary in terms of their level of support. And to date, I think this will change over time, but if you look at the kind of folks, we're not attracting as many historians or English professors. We are attracting people from law or engineering or art or journalism. We need to go further in reaching these others. I think this is about a different vision of the university. Not the university as ivory tower, as simple repository of knowledge, island of intellectual tranquility, or bureaucracy driven by committee and process, but the university is agent of economic and social change, a place of collisions, collaborations, and societal engagement. Sorry, I went the wrong way there. So let me close with this notion. Our at-risk universities, and I believe today our universities are at risk. Our at-risk universities in the SEC are the universities not prepared for this entrepreneurial age. And preparation is about academic entrepreneurs and entrepreneurial ecosystems within our colleges. Thank you. I think we have a minute or two for questions. I've stunned you into silence. Yes, sir.
Sometimes I think people kind of get entrepreneurship and innovation a little backwards, in that I can own a McDonald's franchise and be an entrepreneur, but I'm hardly innovative. And I think a lot of people see entrepreneurship or innovation as a subset of entrepreneurship, or innovation is a subset of entrepreneurship, which is what I'm hearing from your school, which may be why the engineers aren't attracted to it, because entrepreneurship tends to be a business approach, instead of the opposite, where innovation is a larger study and entrepreneurship is a piece of that.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And as you might imagine, I do see it differently than you do. The mistake I think people make is they associate entrepreneurship as a business discipline. The issue here is not what's subsidiary to what. It's we have a lot of creative people on our campuses, and we have innovators on our campus. But there's a difference between creating or innovating and implementing. Taking responsibility for fighting the battles, for attracting the resources, for overcoming the obstacles, to take an innovation and get it implemented. And that's not a business discipline, it's far more than that. And so I'm not at all trying to say that this falls under that or that. I see that as a less productive conversation than let's talk about bringing this mindset to actual implementation of the creative ideas and the innovations that are coming out of our universities. Great. Are there other questions or comments? It's hard to see. Yes?
How do your faculty respond to this message? I mean, you have a group of faculty, I'm speaking of Lex, I don't have a microphone. You have a group of faculty that are fellows. I'm going to put to you a question that someone put to me this morning. How does your faculty on a whole, is there support for this mindset, resistance to this mindset, or people don't care, do what you want to do?
Yeah. So there will always be people who don't care, or people that are focused on what they're doing. But I've been incredibly impressed both at the receptivity when we start. I mean, it has to be substance to the things we're talking about, not just inspiring ideas or whatever. And so, most importantly, when we launched the Faculty Fellows as an example of one of our efforts, I went around and met with every dean on the campus. And there were no deans that didn't get it. There were no deans that the word entrepreneurship was foreign to them. And that in and of itself was exciting to me. But with regard to the Faculty Fellows, I can't speak for the entire faculty on the campus, but the disparate mix, the diverse mix of faculty that we've gotten into the program, the excitement that they bring to the program, I've never had to sell them on entrepreneurship. Rather, it's, well, explain some of what you mean when you talk about opportunity discovery as a process and how you do that. How does that apply to me? And as I said, they take our ideas and go in totally different directions. But to me, the frame of entrepreneurship provides a logic and an empowerment to the faculty. It makes sense of what they're doing. It affects their own identity. And so we've seen great receptivity to the notion. Thank you very much.